Hello, welcome along to Good Morning Transfers. Deadline day is fast approaching and time is running out for players to get their moves. We're expecting lots of deals to get done over the coming days. And to discuss it, we're joined for the first time, a debut for the former Bournemouth midfielder Mark Pugh and our very own Mark McAdam. 2 marks for the price of 1. Arne Slot is dealt with another injury blow. Jeremy Frimpong injured again. Will that force them into the market? Oscar Bobb is on the verge of joining Fulham. Will he be one of 2 signings through the door at Craven Cottage in the coming days? And Lucas Paquetá is off to Flamengo. Will West Ham find a replacement for him? Welcome along. Welcome to you, Mark. For the first time, we start with the breaking news regarding Jørgen Strand Larsen. Mark McAdam, what can you tell us?
Yeah, we love it when we start the show with some breaking news. It always feels like at this time of the window, things are going to start to gather pace, and that's certainly the case for 2 sides that are in the market for a striker. We know that Crystal Palace are in the market to try and sign a number 9, and they have identified Jørgen Strand Larsen as the man they potentially want. The latest development is that Crystal Palace are advancing with talks with Wolves over a potential deal. Now, there has been no formal bid at this stage, but we are expecting there to be an official bid lodged by Crystal Palace to Wolves for the signing of the 25-year-old. I think the most important thing with regards to this one is it's not dependent on the future of Jean-Philippe Mateta, because a lot of people will say, hang on, so that means that Jean-Philippe Mateta is off. No, Crystal Palace are in the market to sign Strand Larsen and potentially have both of them. So that's quite significant. We know that Wolves value Jørgen Strand Larsen at around £40 million. You have to remember, in the summer, they were rejecting offers of 50+ million from the likes of Newcastle. There was a lot of interest in the striker in the summer. We also know that Leeds have been at the table during the course of this January transfer window, because that's a position that they're looking to strengthen in at the moment. And of course, we know that Jean-Philippe Mateta is on the radar of a number of clubs as well, and is also valued at £40 million. Jørgen Strand Larsen, just the 1 Premier League goal this season, which is quite fascinating, because people will say, well, hang on a second, that's a lot of money for one player that scored only 1 Premier League goal. I think the way he finished last season was key. 7 in 9 Premier League matches. That sort of catapulted him into everyone's thought process as to maybe could he be one of those players that has more levels to his game. A lot of interest in the summer, a lot of interest in this window, and I'd be surprised, based on where Wolves are in the Premier League, if he would still be a Wolves player come Tuesday morning.
How are we going to manage this with 2 marks? We're just going to call him Pugh and McAdam. We're going to go with that. Mark, what do you make of this? Is this potentially good news for those Crystal Palace fans in what has been a doomy and gloomy few weeks at Selhurst Park?
Yeah, I mean, you can see at the end of last season when he scored 7 in 9, there's ability there, and he's in a team that's lacking in confidence at the moment, not picking up results. But if they can sign him and he can hit the ground running, the best players in the world need confidence, and if he's confident, he's a big, strong lad, athletic. He'll, rub defenders up the wrong way, really get in amongst them. And yeah, I see him being a great signing, great replacement for Mateta. If he does go, if Mateta stays, then they've got 2 battering rams up front who can make a difference and score goals if the confidence is high.
Let's put you right on the spot. Come on, who's the better striker out of the 2 of them?
Mateta. Yeah, I think Mateta's a better player. I've heard a lot of players speak about him, saying he's one of the toughest opponents that they've ever come up against. And yeah, he's a good player in my eyes. He's proven. He's scored, I think, 16 goals 2 seasons ago, 14 goals last season. And yeah, he's not quite hit the heights he did last season. But I think when your team's struggling as well, it's sometimes tricky to improve your performance when it comes to, being out there.
So would you not buy into some of the narrative I've heard from some of the Crystal Palace fans that actually it's a good time to sell Jean-Philippe Mateta? Some of them, Mark, saying that this is the Mateta that we bought from Mainz and that purple patch was a thing of the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good time to sell him in my eyes. I think Palace are struggling at the moment. They need new bodies around a training ground and just a new identity, I think.
Right, let's talk, shall we, about Raheem Sterling, because he looks, he has left Chelsea yesterday, released just a 60-word statement, did Chelsea, thanking the forward for his contribution during the 3.5 seasons that he was with the club. Let's head to Naples now and join our reporter, Gary Cottrell. Gary, good morning to you. So the end of Sterling's time at the club, but not the only player set to leave Chelsea.
Yeah, Raheem Sterling, it was briefest of statements, wasn't it, ending his time at Chelsea. A bit more on it was said by Liam Rossini at his news conference last night. He described him as a magnificent person and a magnificent player. Said there had been things going on behind the scenes which he wasn't privy to. But of course, there will have been an agreement, that mutual agreement that the statement referred to. He could have sat on his contract another year and a half. What is it on? £325,000 a week. Cost Chelsea 20 million. So there will have been a financial agreement between 0 and 20 million, which both sides agreed on. And Raheem Sterling now looking for a new challenge. And there will be takers, won't there, because of his experience. OK, he's 31, but he's got all that silverware in his history. And although he's been in that bomb squad and has been training, he hasn't been playing. So because of that, I think some of the takers might take a second look before deciding whether or not to go in for him. Lots been made about him wanting to potentially stay in London or stay in England, and that would be his preference. But we're also aware that if the project was correct, he would consider it. There will be interest, of course, in him from around the world, around Europe, including here in Italy, because we know that Napoli in recent times have been in discussions with Chelsea about the potential of taking him. But the sporting director here was speaking last night, said that deal now doesn't look on. It would be very difficult to do because of the wages that Raheem Sterling is demanding. And as I say, Liam Rossini are also speaking about Raheem Sterling last night and wishing him all the best for the future.
To be honest, with Raheem, obviously Raheem is someone who I've come into contact with in our careers. He's a magnificent guy. He's a magnificent player. There are a lot of things going on in the background, positive things that I really had nothing to do with. So I wish Raheem and his family all the very best in his future, and I hope he has a really, really good rest of his career.
So as you alluded to, Axel Disasi, the other member of the bomb squad. The bomb squad is now becoming depleted, isn't it, at Chelsea, because he's back in the fold. He's training with the first team. He's had talks with Liam Rossini. Liam Rossini are impressed with those talks, but obviously he's not up to speed enough after all that time not playing to be involved in any games for Chelsea. And I don't think he will be. I think he's been brought back up to speed, brought into the fold, back in training to try and get him a deal before the deadline. There is interest. We know he spent the second half last season at Aston Villa. There's been interest in England, in Germany, in France, and here in Italy with Fiorentina, the latest to show an interest in Disasi, because obviously he's still a very good and experienced defender. But Chelsea in the market for another centre-back, so that does seem to suggest that although he's back in the fold, he hasn't got a future at Chelsea. So I think by Monday he will be a player somewhere else other than Chelsea. Mark my words. Or given the guests that you've got in the studio today, marks my words.
Gary, thank you very much indeed. Mark Pugh, ever been in a bomb squad before?
Oh, many a time.
Difficult place to be?
Really tough. I mean, you've got to do your training on your own. You've got to keep yourself right. I was in the bomb squad on many occasions, and I always went out of my way, even in my 30s, to play under 21s games, keep that match fitness up, because no matter how much training you do, you cannot replicate match fitness, and you've got to keep ready. I went until November one season. I think it was November the 27th, not that one. Not
that he's bitter or he remembers the date.
I ended up being out of the team for a long, long period, came into the team against Leicester, scored the only goal. This was the year after they won the league, and we beat them 1-0, and it was an amazing night, and I went on to play 15, 20 games after that. So it's amazing if you've got the right attitude, right mindset, do the things off the field, then they transfer on the field.
And there are always three sides to every story. The truth is in the middle of that, and someone like Raheem Sterling would say, you don't know the full details of what happened behind the scenes. He's a free man now, he can sign for absolutely anyone. Is Raheem Sterling still Premier League quality for you, Mark?
He's never going to lose that ability. It's confidence with everything, confidence and self-belief. And if you're out of the team for a ridiculous amount of time. No matter how much money you're getting paid, you need your purpose. You need to be out in front of a crowd, playing football, enjoying what you do. And I think once he gets back playing, he'll reach a really good level. I played against Raheem Sterling when he was at City team, and they were absolutely brilliant. They had De Bruyne, David Silva, Raheem Sterling. They come out to the right wing. I was playing on the left wing, and you were thinking, unbelievable talent, pace, dynamic, and I think he's got everything, all the ability in the world to get back to where he wants.
And because he hasn't played football, competitive football, since, the 25th of May, that was in an Arsenal shirt. And also, by the way, some people would say you were given a massive opportunity, Raheem, at Arsenal, 28 appearances, he scored just once. That was against Bolton in the League Cup. How long will that take him to get back to some sort of level where people would be interested in signing him if he's been 8 months?
Yeah, it's going to take a little while. It's at the end of the day, you need to be playing football, and when you spend long spells, you need to get that match sharpness back. And but I mean, wages is going to be a bit of an issue. At his age now, he's earned a lot of money. I just want to go play football. I'd want to get a club as soon as possible, get myself back out there, and he's got a point to prove. Yeah, Mark McAdam, I wonder where he ends up, because it was only the last window where Fulham were interested, inverted commas. Gary's just said there, Napoli looks unlikely, even though they've looked at him in the past. But why unlikely now? Because he's not going to be on those massive wages. Maybe they are just playing games. But the question is, would Raheem Sterling? We seem to just say, don't we, all the time, he wants to be in London. Well, we don't know that from the horse's mouth, do we? That he will have options, won't he?
He'll have a lot of options. It's just about what's right for him and his family. You mentioned Napoli, and I know Gary said it there, but the sporting director actually said and was quoted as saying, look, there are significant financial expectations with regards to doing a deal for Raheem Sterling. And that's something that maybe takes it away from us and the possibility of Napoli signing him. We know that actually Antonio Conte likes to sign Premier League players, and he's done so quite a bit over the last few years, and they've always proven to do really well in that Napoli side. So you can see that there is a desire to sign someone like him with his experience, particularly like Mark says, he's got that robust physicality, and there are very few leagues like the Premier League in Europe where you have to be so physical. So if he's got that ability to play in those types of environments, then that is a massive plus for someone like Napoli. We know that there'll be interest from some Saudi Arabia. We know that there'll be other sides that are keen to sign someone with his experience and profile as well. There's not many players available on a free transfer. I know the wages will be significant. There's not many players on a free transfer that have got his trophy cabinet. And bringing someone with that winning mentality and understands the pressure of what it's like to play for Liverpool, for Manchester City, for Arsenal, for Chelsea, where the expectation is actually very, very different to playing for other sides, because the pressure is there to perform week in and week out. And there are only certain calibre of player that can actually deal with that expectation and pressure and the weight of the shirt, and he's someone that absolutely understands that. Also felt a little bit sorry for Raheem Sterling. He was the last player signed before Blue Co took over Chelsea. He was the last player to be dished out those huge wages. Blue Co came into Chelsea and said, right, we're going to change the way we do things. The wage structure is going to change. The way we dish money out to players are going to be completely different. We're going to be a lot more about younger players, give them longer contracts, make the contracts more incentivised for their performances. So he's almost a victim of just a transition of ownership. But this is a great opportunity, and I can see there'll be a number of clubs that say, yeah, we're interested. You mentioned Fulham, Oscar Bobb. Looks unlikely now that will be a destination.
And Mark, while you're talking about Chelsea, Gary touched on Axel Disasi there. He is very much still in the bomb squad. And it seems like there are going to be a few centre-backs in the bomb squad at Stamford Bridge, even if they want to get rid of that phrase, because they brought Aaron Anselmino back from Borussia Dortmund. He was in tears, didn't look like he wanted to come back. But there are 9 centre-backs there. There's still talk about Jeremy Jacquet, which would be number 10. So how does this pan out for Axel Disasi? Is Jacquet coming in? And another question on top of all this, why do they need 10 centre-backs?
Only Chelsea can answer the reason as to why they need strength and depth at centre-back. Maybe because they haven't got quite the signings that they thought. Maybe Liam Rosenior says, like, that's the type of centre-back I want. Let's start with the Jeremy Jacquet question. We know that Chelsea are in talks with Rennes at the moment. We know that he is one of the most highly thought of young centre-backs in Ligue 1. I believe Liam Rosenior was asked when he went into Chelsea, who are the players that we should be looking at from Ligue 1, and on the top of his list was Jeremy Jacquet. So that is definitely something that potentially could happen. Can I just interject
very cynically there as well and say, but they have done this with Ligue 1 players in the past. I mean, Disasi himself came from Monaco for nearly £40 million. I haven't got Badia Shields' fee in front of me, but it was It was up there as well.
Yeah.
You know, you look at what they've just paid for Hato from Ajax.
Yeah.
They've spent a lot of money on potential, which you know, cynically hasn't worked out.
And that's why Chelsea fans get frustrated. They say, look, we understand signing young players. We understand signing players that could be really good and profitable down the line. But we need proven Premier League players now that can come in and do the job. We know that there was an interest in Marcus Senesi at Bournemouth, funnily enough, but that was rebuffed by Bournemouth. So absolutely no developments in that case. And just to go back to Axel Disasi as well, the latest information we have with regards to him is that Fiorentina are currently in talks with Chelsea over a possible deal. Sky in Italy are reporting that there's interest from France and Germany over Axel Disasi. He was on loan at Aston Villa last season. He cost Chelsea £38 million in 2023. When they're in the bomb squad and then they get brought back to the first team environment, that's also a way of the club saying, well, he's worth something because he's training with our first team. When they're in the bomb squad, teams know, well, hang on a second, this is not a player you rate very highly because he's not even training with your first team. So it's almost a little bit of a manoeuvre to say, no, he does have some value. We do care about him. We do like him. So he's worth something.
Yeah. The thoughts of Mark Pugh on the way after the break. We're going to take a quick break and still to come on Good Morning Transfers. Douglas Luiz, he rejoins Aston Villa, but does Unai Emery need more in midfield? Plus, Liverpool hit with a defensive injury blow. Will they react and sign a defender with what, just a few days to go in the window? Welcome back to Good Morning Transfers. Good time to come back to us because Oscar Bobb's move to Fulham is getting closer, Mark McAdam. What can you tell us?
Yeah, a little bit of breaking news over the last few moments. Oscar Bobb is expected to have his Fulham medical later on today. That's ahead of completing his permanent move from Manchester City. We know the deal is worth £27 million. That was agreed on Wednesday. We also know that Manchester City have a 20% sell-on clause and they have the matching rights should they decide to re-sign Oscar Bobb. That's, of course, if he went on to move to another club, if Fulham sell him on. So, yeah, significant breaking news there. He's in London for his medical today. And, of course, we know that down that right-hand side was somewhere that Marco Silva was looking to strengthen. There are doubts over Harry Wilson's long-term future at the football club. So to just sign a player of his calibre, quality and experience, he's a Premier League winner as well at Manchester City. So bring that little bit of gold dust, you know, when you've got that medal round your neck and you've got that experience of being in a squad to get over the line, that could be crucial for that Fulham side. So, yeah, big breaking news with regards to Fulham getting close to a £27 million signing today.
Yep. Now, could Liverpool enter the market in the final few days of the window following that injury to Jeremy Frimpong last night? Frimpong went off early in the 6-0 win in the Champions League over Karabag, and Slot was asked if they need more defensive reinforcements.
It always depends on are there players available that we think can help us, and if they are, can we afford them? And does this also be helpful for the longer term future, because our players come back from injury as well. We have to do the smart things for the near future, but also for the longer future. And let's first see how Jeremy is. Maybe he's not able to play Saturday, but maybe he's able to play 1 or 2 days later.
So, defensively, they are looking pretty bleak at the back, aren't they, Liverpool, at the moment? They currently do not have a fit right-back that's played a Premier League game. Mark, do you think, Mark Pugh, that they need to sign a right-back in these final few days? I'm going to reiterate, you know, Jamie Carragher bleeds Liverpool, said that if it looks at some stage like top 5 is in danger, that's when he thinks the button will be pressed on Arne Slot. He needs all the help he can get defensively now, doesn't he?
Massively. I mean, you look at it, Szoboszlai can slot in at right back, but in my opinion, you need one, because if they lose a centre half as well, on that right side, Konate's playing there, then that whole right side, teams are just going to be looking to get at them, and yeah, they need some cover as soon as possible, I think. But in the market we're in, clubs will know that. They'll add another £10-15 million onto the right back's price tag. So, yeah, it's a really tricky situation for him to be in at the moment.
Who's that fella in Madrid with the double-barrelled name? He's not playing much.
Oh, yeah, Alexander-Arnold. He's available, is he?
I mean, look, we're manipulating something here, Mark, but, you know, a little loan deal for Alexander-Arnold, I thought the Liverpool fans would welcome him back, some of them, wouldn't they?
Some of them. He didn't leave in the greatest circumstances, did he? So I'd be surprised if that was a deal that happened.
But they're missing him. Salah's been missing him.
They've absolutely missed his creativity down that right-hand side. And that partnership with Mo Salah was a huge part of the success that Liverpool have had over the last few years. And of course, he was solid defensively, but what he brought to that team from his passing range is really missed. Curtis Jones could also play at right back as well as Dominic Szoboszlai, so they do have other options, but when you're putting square pegs in round holes, it never really works out. So they definitely need to look at doing something. I hate to say it to Liverpool fans that are watching this morning, I don't think they will. Liverpool are never really one of the sides that are just reactive in a transfer market. They like to have clear, structured, planned windows where they know exactly what they're going to do. If, for example, one of the right backs that they've been looking at maybe for the summer becomes available now for the right price and they sense it's a market opportunity, maybe then they'll look to do something. But Mark's hit the nail on the head. You know, the price tag will go up because it's Liverpool Football Club, they're a Premier League side, and everyone knows that they're desperate for that position.
Yeah, and it's tricky really as well, isn't it? Because you put Szoboszlai or Jones at right back, you're losing so much quality in midfield, and you know, you've a massive hole to fill there. I know you've got McAllister and one or two others, but I think Szoboszlai, he's chipped in with goals, he's been brilliant this season.
And understandably, the Liverpool fans will be going, Mark Gahey, you know, missed the opportunity in the summer. They could have got that done potentially earlier in that window. They've missed out to Manchester City. Some of the Liverpool fans would have said, let's go and get Antoine Semenyo as well. That ship has sailed. Who do you think, Mark, that they need more, a right back or a centre back now, given the Konate situation that he's out of contract as well?
Yeah, I'd say a right back, to be honest, because it's a massive part of the game. You know, full-backs are up and down all game. You know, they can chip in with assist goals. Your full-backs now are inverted. They play midfield. I think that Slot likes to do that. But like you mentioned, Alexander-Arnold, if they can get him back, I think he'd be an unbelievable signing.
And what about Andy Robertson? What are we expecting with him, Mark, in this window? Tottenham fans, a lot of them would like to see him, not just for his skills on the pitch, but those leadership skills that he brings as well.
Yeah, Tottenham would be desperate for a player like Andy Robertson. You could see exactly why, because of what he would bring to the side. But of course, what they'd gain, Liverpool would lose. And it reminds me of when Jordan Henderson left Liverpool, actually. And I don't think a lot of people at Liverpool realise just how important he was as a voice in that dressing room. He was someone that's voice really carried around the football club, and he was the model professional. And I think Andy Robertson goes into that bracket as well. You know, he's a top professional. He absolutely knows everything about that football club and what it takes to win and get the business done. He actually started in the Champions League last night. He started more Champions League games for Liverpool than he has in the Premier League. Just 4 Premier League starts. Milos Kerkez has been preferred there. Maybe could he play a right back? You know, we know he's a left back, but that full-back role is the same, just on the opposite side. So maybe that could be potentially an option for Arne Slot. But that's all gone quiet. I wouldn't be surprised if that rears its head once again between now and Monday's 7 p.m. deadline. The deal was around £5 million, which is pennies for a player of his calibre and quality. We know that Thomas Frank really likes Andy Robertson. Liverpool reluctant to sell. He has just 6 months left on his contract. But anything that happens really will be driven by him. If he says to Liverpool, look, this is my time, I need to go, they respect him enough to say, OK, we'll allow you to leave because that's what you want, as much as they, right now, desperately need to keep him.
A really interesting transfer, which could be imminent, is Lucas Paquetá. He's confirmed that he refused offers from European clubs to return to his former side, Flamengo, in a bid to improve his mental health and regain peace, in his words, Mark McAdam. What is the latest with this? I noticed that Flamengo started their season, didn't they? Overnight, they lost in the opening game against Sao Paulo, and they've got a big game coming up on Sunday, the Super Cup there.
Yeah, so the latest is we know that he is headed back to Flamengo. The deal is worth €42 million, which is around 36, 37 million pounds for the 28-year-old. West Ham have confirmed in a statement his desire to go. He said on his social media as well, actually, I want to go back home. I had options in Europe. I could have joined big European sides, but I wanted to go back home, wanted to play for the boyhood club that started my career, and mostly to do with my family and my mental health. He's had a tough 2.5 years at West Ham. That was reflected in West Ham's statements because of the ongoing charges that were subsequently dropped. And this is a great signing for Brazilian football. He is a player very much in his prime. He's going to Brazil Flamengo's revenue was over £216 million last year.
It's a massive football club.
It's
don't.
huge.
I think we underestimate that over here, don't we?
Yeah, their record attendance at their stadium before it was redeveloped was 178,000.
That's flat.
Brazilian football fans absolutely are some of the most passionate
How
in
many
the world.
vitalities is that, by the way? I'm just trying to put...
17.
Yeah.
It's over 17.
See, he can do the maths. There are a lot of private equity firms investing in Brazilian football, which is allowing them to spend this kind of money on players in their prime. So, yeah, he's going to get his wish. He always wanted to go back to Flamengo, and West Ham have sanctioned it with a deal worth over £36 million.
How do you read this, Mark? Because look, we've got to put that side across, right? The mental health side. And I know people are really quick to judge footballers and almost look at them robotically. What are you talking about? You get paid loads of money. He's been through it, I think is the way to phrase it. And he might well, and reading in that statement as well, you might just think, I need a change of scenery. I want to go back to home comforts and to a massive football club as well. What about his side? What about West Ham's side?
Yeah, I think if you're happy off the field, your performances transfer on the field. And I always go passion, purpose, and if you've got your passion and your purpose, footballers want to play football at the end of the day. Now, in my eyes, yeah, you want to get paid good money, but if you're not out doing what you love in front of fans, putting smiles on the faces, then you haven't got your passion and you haven't got your purpose, because you're in the dark, you want to be out in the light, and you want to really, really, get in front of people and show them what you can do. And I call him a paintbrush. He's got a lovely left foot. He, he's fantastic. Got a great free kick on him. Maybe Premier League football, it's a little bit too intense for the style of player he is. But in Brazil, I reckon he'd thrive over there.
Yeah, loved him at Lyon as well. Do they get a replacement, Mark? Because they've got the cash to do that, West Ham, but they're in good form right now. Back-to-back wins in the Premier League, and they can see safety. They can smell it.
That's the thing. They've actually won their last 3 games in all competitions, and Lucas Paquetá wasn't involved. So people say they're going to miss him. Well, they haven't missed him recently. Of course, that creativity, that energy, that passion, all the things that he brought to that West Ham side are going to be missed. They are in the market to try and recruit. We know that the board always do try and spend money where possible. They have to be careful because of PSR, but they do always go and splash the cash. Maybe they just haven't got the right targets at the right time. But they certainly are in the market to try and sign more players and back Nuno as much as they can between now and Monday.
Right, so much more on the way for you. News from Nottingham Forest as Sean Dyche looks to add to his squad. And could Manchester United bring in an 18-year-old striker? Back in a jiffy. Time now for our transfer update. Lots happening already this morning. Oscar Bobb expected to have a medical with Fulham today ahead of completing a permanent move from Manchester City. Fulham have agreed a £27 million deal to sign the Norwegian. Crystal Palace, meanwhile, advancing with talks to sign that man, Strand Larsen from Wolves. No formal bid as yet, but one is expected from Crystal Palace. What does that Strand Larsen news mean for Jean-Philippe Mateta? Well, Crystal Palace will only sell Mateta if his £40 million valuation is met, and they're happy to have him and Strand Larsen both in their squad. Raheem Sterling, significant financial expectations make a move to Napoli. Hard to envisage, that's according to the Italian club. Sterling has left Chelsea by mutual agreement, bringing an end to 3.5 seasons at Stamford Bridge. Fiorentina, meanwhile, in talks with Chelsea over a potential deal for their centre-back Axel Disasi. West Ham have reluctantly given Lucas Paquetá permission to undergo a medical with Flamengo in Brazil after a £36.5 million deal was agreed for him. Fulham winger Harry Wilson increasingly likely to become a free agent in the summer. He's in red-hot form as well. And James Ward-Prowse has joined Burnley on loan from West Ham until the end of the season. Don't forget, you can keep across all the latest information as it happens on our dedicated Transfer Centre blog. Just scan that gigantic QR code on the screen. It'll take you exactly where you need to go. Right, we brought you the news, the breaking news earlier that Oscar Bobb, Mark McAdam, is having a medical today at Fulham. We can see some numbers, Mr. Mark Pugh, on the screen there. Oscar Bobb, in terms of goals, assists in the appearances that he's had under Pep Guardiola. That surprises me for someone of his talent, or are we being harsh?
It does. I've seen quite a lot of him, and I really like him. Lovely left foot, he's dynamic, quick, gets at players, can go inside, can go outside. And I thought it was a lot more than that. 3 goals, 4 assists, and a little bit surprised. But I think we need to take into consideration he's in an unbelievable City team and he's not getting a regular run of games. I think if you get a regular run of games, you build up that confidence, you score a goal or two, then you can keep backing that up. Whereas in a City team, you play one game, you might come out for two, and it's a little bit all over the place. But I think for Fulham, he starts.
Different type of player to Cole Palmer, but could this come back to haunt Pep Guardiola and Manchester City in the same way that Palmer did? Because his numbers weren't great in a City shirt.
It wouldn't surprise me. He's a similar type. He takes it on the half turn really well. He's quick, he's sharp. He could probably play in the 10. I haven't seen him play as a 10, but he's that type of ability where he could play anywhere in the attacking third.
Ricardo Pepi, is this someone that could be a Fulham player come the end of the window?
Yeah, very possibly. USA international goal scorer. He's actually scored 11 goals in 9 starts in all competitions for PSV this season. Fulham have bid £28 million. PSV are currently considering the offer. He has a contract until 2030, so the card's very much in PSV's hands. But we know that Marco Silva wants to add some depth to the striking options he has at the football club, and Ricardo Pepi is the man that they're interested in. Be fascinating to see if they can get this one over the line because of the money they've already spent in this window. We know that Bobb's just a matter of time now before that gets confirmed. But Pepi, Fulham, one to keep an eye on.
The broken arm's one to keep an eye on as well. I wonder how long that recovery is. Broken arm, come on, Dr. Pugh? What are we looking at there? Best case scenario?
You don't run with your arm, do you? No,
That's what they want to hear.
To be fair, you recover really quickly these days. And if he's that good a player and he's got statistics like that, then you'd want to get him over the line before other clubs come in for him and then focus on that rehab and get him back playing as soon as possible.
Strap it up, lad. Get on with it. That's what Sean Dyche would say as well, isn't it? Let's get to Nottingham Forest, who are looking to be busy ahead of Monday's 7 p.m. deadline. They've been linked with a keeper, a defender and a striker in the last few days. Here is Dyche.
I've said to you all along, the club are a trading club, we know that, and they always make it clear to me that we're looking at options in varying positions, but fair to say, fullback's one of them with the left-back situation as much as anything. But yeah, we're looking at various options, it's not just that position, and you've all seen the news, so, we're just trying to be proactive to strengthen where we can and when we can.
Yeah, obviously, we know, the reports and the interest in Jean-Philippe Mateta as well. You've already signed a striker last week. You've got 2 strikers who scored at the weekend and Chris Wood. That's a lot of players potentially.
You love them strikers. Thinking big man, we like them strikers, don't we? No, look, you want good players at your club, and we have got them. And if we can add strength to it, I said, a couple of months ago or a month ago when it's building up, the club's made it clear they'll support me, they'll support the team, they'll support the club, and I think the owner's made that clear all along. And he's willing to do that, but it still has to be the right people, and we still have to get the right situation, the right fees agreed and contracts agreed and all that. So no, it's never done until it's actually done. So there's a couple of situations we're waiting on news, but if we can get good players in, we will do it. And the owner's made that clear to me.
Sean Dyche loves the transfer window. Does he love Jose Sarr? Is this a move that you expect to happen, Mark McAdam?
Yeah, very possibly because of the injury to John Victor at Nottingham Forest. There is renewed interest in Jose Sarr. We know Wolves' situation, so I'd imagine that this will rumble on until Monday, but goalkeeper definitely on his radar.
Lewis Dunk.
Yeah, this one really surprised me in some respects. He made his debut for Brighton in 2010, a long, long time ago. He's a one-club man, and I never anticipated Lewis Dunk leaving. There was an inquiry from Nottingham Forest to Brighton, but it was rebuffed very quickly. They actually got him to sign a new deal in December, so he is down on the south coast until 2027. Maybe, just maybe, Brighton will say he's the number 1 centre-back. Maybe he might think, time for a change. Maybe he'll get a little bit more money at Nottingham Forest, and he thinks at 34 years old, this is my last opportunity to get some cash in the bank. But yeah, he's a Brighton legend, Brighton hero, absolutely through and through. So I'd be surprised if that one happened. But you can see that's the type of player that Sean Dyche wants. Old school, proper centre-half, stick his face in before he worries about getting hurt and do anything to block that ball going in the net. So yeah, one to keep an eye on. And you nearly got signed by Sean Dyche?
Yeah, I was about 29, 30 at the time. 3 million bid. Pennies back in the day, weren't it?
3 million?
3 million, yeah.
What happened?
Just Eddie rejected it and wanted me to stay, and the rest is history, really. But I was a Burnley boy. You know, it had been a great opportunity to be in and around family and stuff like that, but never materialised.
Wasn't it, as a baby?
It's where I started, got released, told I wasn't good enough, and made 500 plus appearances. So testament you can achieve anything, eh?
You showed them, Mark. Right, we're not expecting much business, are we, at Manchester United? But they are, I'm hearing, looking at a youngster in France, Mark McAdam.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily for this window. He's an 18-year-old, Kader Mete. He is a young player. That's what they all want these days. They want young players that they can mould, develop, and so on and so forth. Teenager is actually impressed with 3 goals in 17 in Ligue 1 so far this season. Started 6 of those games. One for the future, one to keep an eye on, but I'll be surprised if Manchester United make a move at the moment, particularly when there is a little bit of uncertainty as to who will be the head coach next season.
Right, next on Good Morning Transfers, we are talking all things Bournemouth. That's when Mr. Pugh comes alive for sure. We're going to take a deep dive into the history of Mark Pugh and find out what he's up to now. Get your chef's hat on. OK, time now for this. Dimitri Payet left West Ham for Marseille in 2017, signing a 4-year deal with the club in a deal worth £25 million. No doubt about it, he was a gem at the club, scoring some incredible free kicks, which we all remember, and loved by the fans. He left West Ham scoring 15 goals in 60 appearances for the Hammers. Let's talk about Bournemouth now. Mark's old team. Firstly, Mark McAdam, Ryan. When's this going to be done? Oh, sorry, no, it is done. What I want to talk about with him is the release clause, which is gigantic, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's an indication of to how highly they rate his potential. You know, he is a young superstar in waiting, but now he's got to deliver on the highest stage when everyone's watching, and that expectation. We know that Bournemouth have been exceptional in the window. They've made some really good, astute signings over the last couple of years, and we've seen the fact they've been selling players to PSG and Liverpool and Manchester City and Real Madrid, that there's something very good going on down at Bournemouth at the moment. And Ryan, 19-year-old from Vasco da Gama, the deal was worth just over £26 million with some add-ons, but the fact that they've put a €100 million release clause in that contract would suggest they expect him to be good.
Big shoes to fill. Is it going to be Semenyo's shoes? Throw him straight in?
I think so. I think he plays off the right, I haven't seen a lot of him. I've seen clips. You can't judge a player off clips, but he looks sharp, he's quick, he's strong, athletic, can score a goal and can go either way as well. So, yeah, big shoes to fill, but he looks a talent.
6'2" as well. So for a winger that's 6'2", gives you an indication as to his physical profile. And he's only 19 years old, so he's going to get bigger and stronger and better. Can play on the left, but can also maybe play as a number 9 as well. So he brings that versatility in attack, which is what all managers want. They want players that can play in multiple positions. So, yeah, I think definitely one to watch. I think it'd be interesting to see his trajectory and development.
So Ryan Dunn, they've always got something in the pipeline. Any more incomings, do you think, at the Vitality?
Well, there's been a lot of social media rumour about Luis Enrique at Inter Milan. He actually started in the Champions League last night. So one to keep an eye on. Someone said to me this is not a hot transfer. One that's maybe cooling, but they have signed a lot of players already. That, you know, Ryan and Mandas were their 3rd and 4th signings of the window. Would they do a 5th? I think there's a good chance, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're happy with what they've got.
Yeah. Mark Pugh, you had such an incredible time at Bournemouth, didn't you? Am I right to say, is it 9 years you were there?
9 years, yeah.
The club that you joined all the way back in, 2010, wasn't it?
2010, yeah.
I'm just looking at from Hereford. That was what the club was looking for. From Hereford. You were in League One Bournemouth, and you had the journey all the way to the Premier League. What stands out for you in that near decade?
Just the 2 promotions from League One to the Championship and Championship to the Premier League. Incredible nights. In football, it's really rare that you get these moments, you know, so you've got to appreciate it. And I spent 10 years from the age of 16 to 25, 26 in the lower leagues, going from club to club. So I really did appreciate the special times. So to do it with a club where, you know, 5, 6 years ago, they were really struggling financially, fans had to put their hands in the pocket. It was just great to see so many smiles on people's faces and what it meant to the town. So, incredible journey. Yeah,
the journey that you witnessed, though, the change over that time must have just been insane.
Oh, it was incredible. It was incredible. Just, you know, from going back to where they were to Premier League football. You know, that first game, I remember it like it was yesterday, playing against Aston Villa. We were brilliant on the day, lost 1-0, one chance and Gestede scored a header. And that just proved to me, yeah, it's small margins, you've got to be on it at all times. And I wanted to be a Premier League player, and I did everything in my ability to try and be the best I could be for the team, to try and help them win games.
You also saw, didn't you, the transition of Eddie Howe as a coach, which must have been quite a sight to witness, and what he's doing now.
I'm not surprised he's been so successful, because his attention to detail, his willingness to learn, improve players, be the best he can be, and he'll go above and beyond for his staff, for his players, and I'm just so pleased he's doing so well, and he deserves to be playing Champions League football, and yeah, I mean, I can't praise him highly enough. He made me the player I was, and still am today, playing five-a-side football. and he once said to me, "You'd play for Barcelona if you had pace." I weren't sure whether he was hammering me, whether he was giving me a compliment.
I thought you were pretty quick.
I wasn't the quickest. I had a chop and a step over, and I'd beat players, but I wasn't particularly quick as a winger.
But when you see him now, what are his big qualities then? What did he get out of you? What are his main skill sets as a coach?
Man management, because I spent long spells out of the team. You know, we'd sign new players. We signed Jordan Ibe for 15 million. We'd sign other wingers. We had Matt Ritchie. We had Junior Stanislas, Ryan Fraser. We had some really good wingers. And, you know, when I was out of the team, he'd always work on my game. He'd always pull me to one side and give me reasons why I was out of the team. And that's what a good manager does. And sometimes I'd be like, well, I feel like I deserve to be in the team, but that's life. You've just got to keep working. And it got the best out of me, because if you've got players around you that are pushing in one direction, he builds that team unity, so everyone's pushing in that direction to be successful.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you've worked with a lot of good wingers over your career as well. You mentioned a few of them there, but Eberichi Eze, you were at QPR with, Jared Bowen, you were at Hull with as well. What did you see in those players, particularly because they are now, you know, household Premier League names? Unbelievable.
I remember having a conversation when I'd just finished my loan deal with Hull, and I told Eddie about Gerrard and what an incredible player he is. After training, 10 shots on the left, 10 shots on the right every day, he'd improve his finishing. Brilliant. Eze, what a guy, unbelievable talent, naturally gifted footballer. He comes across as quite lethargic on the pitch, but he's just naturally so gifted, and he's a great lad as well. And I'm not surprised he's done so well. They're incredible talents, and they deserve every bit of success for the work they put in off the field, because it really does transfer on.
You told Eddie to sign both of them?
I had a quick word, yeah. So, yeah.
We've not got long left. We gave you sort of 15 double espressos this morning. You didn't bring any food in for us. What are you up to now, the foodie footballer?
So yeah, I'm doing nutrition. I'm going into the academies with the aspiring athletes, you know, from the Championship down to League 2, and just try and educate them to be the best athlete possible. And what we put in our body transfers, you know, outside, and we perform. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to businesses.
Is this your kitchen or the studio?
What's that? Oh, there we go. that's my kitchen. So yeah, going to businesses. I'll be going into schools soon locally to me, just to try and help people become better. And if you're feeling good physically and mentally, then your performance is going to be high. And yeah, double espressos keep me going all day.
I've seen you knock the back. Impressive. But was nutrition always massive for you, Mark, no matter which club you were at?
So no, when I got promoted to the Championship with Bournemouth, I didn't know a lot about nutrition, so I decided to spend a few £1,000s on educating myself, doing a diploma in nutrition, because I wanted to gain an edge, and I wanted to be able to run further than the opposition. And once I started implementing small changes, beetroot juice, ginger shots, and the food I was eating, avoiding ultra-processed foods, I was running further in games, I was feeling better mentally and physically, I was more present with my family, and it just improved my game no end.
Very quickly, what's for lunch today? Put us all to shame.
Lunch today? I'll go for a teriyaki chicken, bit of rice, sweet potato, broccoli, I think.
Oh, stop it. Great to have you with us, Mark. Right, don't forget, Good Morning Transfers returns tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. Andy Brassel is here. Before that, we are back at midday. European football expert Kevin Hatchard in the building. And for a full roundup of the day's transfer stories, catch the Transfer Show at 4 and 7 p.m. Fan Club is next here on Sky Sports News. Tom White here with Darren McAntony.